So out of all the questions that I get from everyone listening to the shows I put out, the content I put out, most people ask me the same question, which is how would you invest your savings or how would you invest your time if you were to actually grow and scale your agency from scratch? And for anybody who doesn't know who my name is Lucas James. I started this agency Twiz about 5 years ago, almost now, when I was a kid in my 20s. I was 20, just turned 22. And man, everything was different back then. But, we were able to grow that agency really quickly. And what I wanted to do was talk really through the strategic side of this, like how would I actually go about it, and also just talk about the best way to build an agency that works for you as opposed to you having to work inside your agency 24/7, because that's something that a lot of people forget about, or they don't even really think about, is that agencies are huge money pits if you don't know how to do them appropriately. And I want to define a money pit in a bit more critical terms, because I think a lot of people think of a money pit as you actually spending cash on something that doesn't yield a return. But a money pit, if you value your time, can also be, I guess, a time pit or something along those lines, because it can be something that you put a lot of time in without also yielding a cash return, even if you don't have to put the financial investment in. So a lot of marketing agencies, what happens is they get stuck in this trap because, and I call it the traditional trap, they get stuck in this trap because they basically start doing it, they get clients, and then they're like, wow, I have all this cash flow. This is so amazing. But they don't realize that revenue does not equal profit, right? I think J.K. Molina, who we did an interview of, talks about this in different contexts about Twitter. It's likes are not cash, right? Which is a very interesting point. And I would definitely agree, because with my own content, I don't get as much likes as maybe a fitness influencer or a food influencer or something like that, or a food content creator. I wouldn't even really call myself an influencer yet. But point is that their content gets more likes. But for my niche, it doesn't really matter if I have a lot of likes. I just need the right people to watch my stuff. That's it, right? So the same thing is true for scaling your profit. Just because you have a lot of revenue doesn't mean you're very profitable. And a money pit would mean that you spent all this money on something that's not profitable. A time pit means you spent all this time on something that's not profitable. And so what I want to really reinforce to you in this video or this episode, or however you're listening to this, is that there is a very important strategy you can follow to increase your profitability and actually build an asset, right? My goal for you is to build a company that essentially cash flows you $100,000 a year at minimum with very minimal work. I mean, that's basically where I'm at right now with the agency. Is I make over $100,000 a year. And I'm just transparent about this because I want you guys to do the same thing, right? Like this is a blueprint that you can follow. It's not like a hidden thing that I want to hide from everybody. I want you to know, because then you can implement the same strategy, right? So that's why I'm transparent about these. And I'm also transparent about this to all of our employees. Everybody knows how much everybody's making and everything like that. So essentially, the thing is, that is for about 2 hours of work a month, right? I meet with my sales team on the agency side for 30 minutes a week, and that's it, right? And this is entirely possible. It's kind of funny. I actually posted about this on LinkedIn. And when I posted on LinkedIn, I did not get the reaction that I wanted when I talked about how you can build passive income. So I've decided to change that and put some caveats on it, because I wanted people to really understand what I mean here. What I mean when I talk about passive income is I'm already assuming that you've done all the things that you should be doing to grow your agency the right way, meaning you're treating your clients well, you're treating your employees well, you have a tight operation and a tight ship. I'm not recommending that you bypass all of those just so you can make money. That's a very unethical thing to do, and I'm not recommending that. I'm recommending that you build all the important processes first so you can actually turn your agency into an asset that you own, just like if you owned a house or something of that nature. You don't need to be stuck running the day-to-day operations of your agency. That's the biggest thing that people forget, is that you don't need to be doing this. So what I want to talk about is how you get to that point as quickly as possible. So enough of this little rant. Let's go into the strategy behind what I would do from day one to get my agency to be $1 million agency with a ton of profit as quickly as possible. So the first thing I would do is I would actually not start by offering a service at all, because what happens is services are one of the easiest ways to get stuck in a money pit, right? Or a time pit, or whatever you want to call it. it's one of the easiest ways to get stuck there. What I would start with is some sort of a course, or if you're technically savvy, some sort of a software. Now, if you don't, I don't really recommend the software thing to everyone because, again, it is a lot of time. It could be even more of a time and money pit than doing an agency the wrong way. So the easiest, most straightforward thing you could possibly do is to create a course. Now, if you have no experience, right, meaning that you haven't done this a lot, then what I would do is I would dedicate 1 to 2 months to just learn something in marketing, document all of your learnings, and then put it in a Google Drive folder and just say, hey, once you pay for this, let's say it's a $97 per month subscription or whatever, I'm going to give you access to this Google Drive folder, and then you can continue paying, and then I'll add more content to this over time. So keep in mind, this doesn't need to be a teachable course. It doesn't need to be on Kajabi, which is another way people put their courses online. It literally could just be a Google Drive folder. Why? Because the value is not in the delivery all of the time. Sure, some people will complain about it, whatever. And in fact, people probably won't complain about that much because Google Drive is pretty easy to access and people love Google Drive. That's why it's such a big, Google's such a big company, right? So I don't think they're going to really care. That's how I started with my courses. But the thing is, you start that Google Drive and you just put your information in there. People are paying for access to information. They're paying for a way to save time, not having to learn these things as well, right? So even if you're just consolidating information, now you might also say, hey, I've never actually even worked on a marketing campaign. Then what I would do simultaneously is I would offer pro bono work or heavily discounted work simultaneously so you could build that repertoire. And I would find something, this is very key, I would find an area that actually is a trend, because I think the most profitable opportunities right now in marketing agencies are trend hopping. What I mean by this is identifying, let's say it's influencer marketing, let's say it's TikTok ads, let's say it's Amazon marketing, Amazon PPC, Amazon SEO. These are like trendy things right now. And what happens when you're in a trend is you don't have to have as much experience as somebody who has a ton. I actually think of this is going to be the nerdiest thing I've probably ever said on this channel, but I think of this the same as on Pokemon, where if you've actually played the game, you choose from one of three different options when you're about to start your journey to become a Pokemon master. And when you choose that option of what Pokemon you want, that's basically it, right? You're stuck with that. Now, luckily, you don't have to stick with one with your agency, but you want to think of it as which one of these choices would set me down the right path to profit and economic prosperity within my own life and for my employees and great results for my clients. And so if you hop on a trend, people will throw money at you, even if you don't have as much experience, because it's so new and it's so trendy, right? So like TikTok is a huge example of that right now. Now, again, I want to continue reinforcing, please don't scam people with this approach. Like, you should actually learn how to do it. You should actually be good at it first. You don't want to screw people over, but at the same time, you don't need as much experience for a new thing. Also, there's more arbitrage opportunity at it because people are excited about it. And so they're willing to throw money at you and start. So that's what we did with LinkedIn lead generation. That was one of the ways we were able to grow and scale. But then over time, we've been able to transition to doing the other trendy type things, and that's helped us grow even more. But if I were you, I would start off with something that's a trend. I would make it very, very palatable for your clients. And then through that trend, you don't have to have as much experience. So again, I would have a course, and inside that course, I would then focus on one trend, learn it, arbitrage your time, and invest your time so people can get access to what you learned during that time through a course. And then after about a quarter of doing that, then you can launch your agency. So at that point, you should have a profit mechanism, because a course is pure profit. And then you can convert those people from that course into your agency. And at that point, you've already established what is usually the hardest thing with most agencies, is having some sort of authority, right? So if you already have the course, you already have people in it, everything else is easy because you can post it online. You have a ton of content, right? You will be able to scale quicker because people trust you. So this is something that you need to keep in mind when it comes to building things up and building things out with your agency. Don't always think of it as this traditional binary where it's either launch an agency with services or don't launch an agency with services. Launch an agency that puts profit first and your employees first and your clients first, but actually has profit as part of the equation. So many people don't do this, and it's a huge hindrance on their business. You need to have profit. And I want to end with this point. You will know if your profit margins are good if you have so much profit at the end of the month, you have trouble even spending all the money that you're making. That's actually what's happening right now with the SaaS product. And I haven't really ever experienced this before because I've always been in kind of this like learning how to unlearn the traditional trap, like how to unlearn just building an agency that doesn't have a ton of profit. Like that was something that we had to build to because we had a lot of revenue, but our profit wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. Now, because I started with profit first, we have too much profit and it's actually hard to spend all the money to keep growing because there's just so much of it, right? So that is what I would prioritize. You know, a $200,000, $300,000 per year SaaS or course can be just as profitable as $1 million agency. And it's way more fun because you can have a better offer. Like you could do a money back guarantee, for instance, and everyone's happier. They trust you. You're an authority figure. These things are very important. So I would focus on this. I would streamline it. I would really think through this as you grow and scale. Hopefully this has been helpful for everybody listening to this. If you enjoyed it and you'd like for me to create more content like this, or you have a friend you think would enjoy it, feel free to share this with them. I'm always here for any advice. If you want to comment below, if you're on social, or feel free to shoot me an email, lucas@twiz.io. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening to this. Appreciate everybody. Bye.